everyone, it's Crafty Tina's. Today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this snow shaker. I know it's really hard to see. It has loose snow in it. This is made with the Shadow Box punch board. We're using unusual sizes, so you're going to need the log, or I'm going to tell you exactly what size these are. They have an acrylic cover on top of both to hold the snow in. I'm going to show you everything you need and how to make it. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is your envelope punch board. This is by We Are Memory Keepers. It makes different. This is not an envelope punch board. I'm so sorry. I'm sitting here looking at the envelope punch board to the side. This is the Shadow Box punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. I love all their punch boards. So this is right now one of my favorites. I've made a ton of them. Check out my other videos. You can see what all this board is capable of doing. But for today's video, we're going to make two different sizes so that we can make this shaker wall hanger. Now, it's super easy, very little supplies, so don't worry. We're going to make this shaker. We're also going to, I'm going to show you the embellishments that I used, and I'm going to show you how to make a paper bow using the envelope punch board in addition to the shaker box. So we're going to make this one a little bit different. I saw this ribbon in my stash, and it looks really great with the paper that I've chosen because I'm making the little gingerbread man. I wanted to put some ribbon that matched the paper more. So we're going to use this ribbon, a single strand of it, instead of doing the two strand like this one is. I'm going to show you the back of this one. So if you choose to do one piece of smaller ribbon, you just loop it up across the top and back down, securing it with either glue or some score tape. So for this video, you're going to need two pieces of cardstock, one for the top shadow box and one for the bottom shadow box. Two pieces, you can have them match or not match. And the two sizes you need are 7.5 by 8 and 7.5 by 6.5. By starting with these two sizes, we're going to end up with two shadow boxes in this size. And if you have my log sheet, you can see that on one of them I've written Merry Christmas in parentheses. That is showing you this size. This is a 3.5 by 2.5 on the outside, and it's a 2.5 by 1.5 on the inside. The next measurement right underneath that Merry Christmas says Snowman Shaker, and that's why I added the notes on this latest update. The outside of this box is 3.5 by 4, and the inside is 2.5 by 3. So those two are marked on your log as Merry Christmas and Snowman Shaker. That is just to be able to link it back to what I was doing. You see this one up here, I have window die, gift card, the lip balm I have not done yet, and the butterfly, which I have to add to the sheet. Now, if you don't have this sheet, my Facebook page is in the description. Hop over there, print this out. It gives you both square and rectangle measurements so that you can make any size shadow box you want up to an 8 by 8. And the reason we have to stop at 8 by 8 is because the largest paper or cardstock we have is 12 by 12. This does the math for you, but if you want to do the math yourself, there are other videos showing you how to use my little form, my little sheet. And you can always post on my Facebook page if you have a shadow box size you want. I'll work the numbers out for you and add it to the log. So let's get started. Once we have our two pieces of cardstock, again 7.5 by 8 and 7.5 by 6, you're also going to need two cutouts. They can be, this is a print and cut from my Silhouette. This is on the Silhouette Studio software. They're just print and cut, which means I printed it on cardstock on my home printer and then put it back in the machine and it cut around. That is the same thing these two pieces are. These are also on the Silhouette Studio website. So you're going to need your two images that you're going to put inside the snowy shadow box. If you add the paper bow, you're going to need a piece of cardstock, 3/4 by 7 inches. On this shadow box, I added two really sparkly, shiny, glittery corners. I used a corner die that I got off of Amazon and made the two corners. They are optional. They're not required. They're just simply here for decoration. If you don't want to put corners, you can put any kind of decoration, such as snowflakes or anything else, on the shadow box. You're going to need some foam squares because these images are not flat. I wanted the snow to be able to go behind them as well as on top of them. Now, the static electricity in here, because I'm standing on carpet, is causing the snow to stick to the plastic. If you rub your hand across it, it gets rid of the static, and you can see Mr. Snowman a little better. I'm not rubbing the outside, guys. I'm rubbing the plastic to get rid of the static electricity. But I have these both raised on two of these. They're too thick in here, so the snow can go behind and on top of. It gave a better illusion, so you're going to need some little foam squares. Again, personal preference. I also wanted to put a background on these because I didn't want the print, or in this case, I don't want the white showing inside my shadow box. So I'm going to use 2 pieces of cardstock to go inside, and they are 3 by 2.5 by 2.5 by 1.5. They are the size of the inside. So you can look here if you can't remember what I said. You can look here and get your inside measurements. That's what your cardstock needs to be. If you want, you can make it the outside measurements and add these while you're closing up your frame, which someone else suggested. The reason I don't always do that is because sometimes I don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. I'm still working my way through it, and I don't want to put something in there and end up not wanting that in there. So I like saving this to last, but that is a personal preference. When we get to that step, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then you're going to need these clear pieces of plastic. I think they're called PVC report covers on Amazon. These are 7 mil, and they're nice and stiff. Any thickness will work as long as it's stiff enough to hold a shape if you bend this. And we're going to bend this using our scoring board. We're actually going to use the shadow box scoring board to score these. So you're going to need 2 pieces of them. This is the outside measurement of each shadow box in case you're making a different size shaker. 3.5 by 2.5 and a 3.5 by 4. That's the 2 pieces I have here. So we have our foam, we have our corners. I'm going to put the die to the side. Then you're going to need some kind of ribbon or trim or anything you want to act as your hanger. In this one, I have a black and gold ribbon. I was camping when I made that one and didn't have a lot of options. When I came home and looked at my ribbon stash and I took my cardstock over to it, this immediately caught my eye because it has all of the same colors in there. I don't use this for cards because it's too big, so it's going to make a perfect hanger for my shaker boxes this time. And then you're going to need whatever kind of snow you're going to put inside. This is actually embossing powder, I believe. Maybe this is just regular decorative snow. You can use anything. Hobby Lobby has this. Even Dollar Tree has this out around Christmas time. I have it in a container, so if I'm doing glue, I can glue the surface, put it on here, and put it right back in the container. It keeps the mess down to a minimal, and with me and glitter, I need that. In this case, I'm going to be scooping it up and putting it inside, so I like the concept of being able to scoop it up with a plastic spoon that I can keep inside. This is nothing more than a sandwich container from Rubbermaid. It's just something you would carry your lunch in. It's sandwich size. It's actually the perfect size if you're making cards and you're adding a lot of glitter. You can stack these up on top of each other and they work out really well. And I believe that is all the supplies we need, so let's get making it. First thing we're going to do is make our shadow boxes. Now you guys have seen me make a million shadow boxes, right? So I'm going to run through this really quick for those of you that haven't seen it to show you how simple in real time without being edited or sped up. Because there's nothing worse than you trying to follow along and they do a quick thing where it just goes faster than it's supposed to. So you're going to take any one of your 2 pieces of paper and you're going to put your score lines. Totally forgot what those were for a second. There's 4 score lines. You're going to put all 4 on all 4 sides of both papers. You're going to hold it straight all the way to the top and all the way to the left to make sure your lines are straight, because if your lines are not straight, your box is not going to be straight. And this allows you to make the lines perfectly straight as long as you hold the paper down in place. That part's very important. I'm holding it all the way to the top and all the way to the left, and I'm doing all 4 lines. It's super quick and easy to make these little shadow boxes, but I have to tell you, they kind of multiply pretty quick. I've got quite a big stack of them going on. Here's all 4 score lines on all 4 sides. Now we're going to do it again to this one. All 4 and all 4. You do not have to make your shaker wall hanger this size. You can make it any size you want. You don't have to make them the same width. You could make them different sizes as well. There's so many options that you're never going to run out of ideas for the shadow box. That's why I think the shadow box is a good financial choice, because you don't want an item that you can only make 1 or 2 items and be stuck with. This shadow box tells you you can only make 4, but my spreadsheet tells you you can make many, many different sizes. And this isn't the limit to what you can make. If you follow my mathematical equation in my other videos, you'll see that you can make any size shadow box you want. It doesn't have to be 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, it could be any size you want. Now that we have them both scored, let's flip this around. We're gonna take the longest side. Just to give you a frame of reference, I don't think it really matters. Put the longest side in, punch, scoot over, punch. We're gonna flip it. We're staying on that long side, punch, punch. Now we wanna flip it this way because we also wanna maintain the long side. Punch, punch, flip it so we can stay on the long side again, punch, and punch. And now we have the first shadow box all punched out, ready to fold. Let's go ahead and do the next one since we're already punching. We're going to put it in on the long side, punch. We're going to flip so we can do the long side, punch. We're going to flip so we can stay on the long side to do the 2 punches on this side. One thing you're going to notice is you are not turning that paper counterclockwise or clockwise. You are doing flips and moves. You're not turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right, like you would do on like an envelope punch board. You're going to stay on the same long side, punch 2, then you're going to flip it, and you're going to stay on the same long side, punch, and punch. This makes the shadow box so much easier to fold up. I know you can make these on your own, on a scoring board. This just simply makes it easier. Our discards stay nice and stacked up. And now we're going to fold these up. You're just going to fold all the score lines, bringing them into the center. You're wanting to make nice crisp lines, so use your tool. I'm doing this quickly so that I don't have to bore you guys to death. There's a lot of videos out there to watch and a lot of crafting to be done. If you like these shadow boxes, make sure you check out my other videos because there are quite a few of them to get you going, especially if you're new. We're going to add adhesive to the very end piece. Normally I use score tape, but this is a little faster. Use anything you want as long as it will stay stuck. That is the key. If you've got a favorite glue or a favorite tape. Okay, let's undo this one because I am getting ahead of myself and I'm not telling you the proper directions. You need to do the pointy ones first. I got kind of carried away here. And that's important because of the way you're rolling them up. So you're going to do the pointy sides first. It's okay to put the adhesive on all 4. Just make sure you put the pointy ones down first. You're just basically making a tube. You're going to put this one down. Make a tube. Now I'm rolling this one. So normally I would put my adhesive on the inside, but I've already got it on here, so we're going to give it a try. I like putting my adhesive inside the box for these. See how perfectly square that looks? So we're going to come over here. We're going to just roll it in there so that the adhesive sticks down, and it goes from paper edge on the inside to paper edge on the other side. And then I can flatten it down. So now I have a perfectly placed shadow box. The next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need some glue just for the corners. I've been using this fast tack glue. I kind of like it because it sticks faster. It is kind of messy when you first take it out, but it sits upside down, so it's always ready to go. And it doesn't have a precision tip, it's just got a small tip, but we're going to just put a blob, so that's okay. And it holds it upside down on purpose so that you can always have your glue ready to go. And then you're going to wipe off the glue. And not wipe it on your shirt. You're going to wipe it on a rag. Don't wipe it on the cat or anybody standing near you either. So I want it to dry a little. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side while I'm still holding this. You don't have to. You can wait for that to dry. I don't want to bore you guys and have you move on to the next video. I want you to see the whole thing so we can talk about all the options at the end. Okay, we're going to clean that glue off. And even though it's fast tack, it does take a few seconds, guys, because this is paper and it's getting wet with glue. But already this is turning out to be a really cute shadow box. We're just going to make sure these are stuck. And you can put them in between two things to kind of, hold it down to let it stick while you work on the next one. It looks pretty good. None of the corners are coming out, so I'm going to go on to the next one. I'm going to fold all of the score lines all the way around. It doesn't matter what order you do them in. You're just folding them in. If you're leaving this to be seen, make sure you don't write in it. I knew I was covering mine and I wanted you guys to be able to see the actual size. That part is not necessary. And now I want to glue the pointy sides first. So we're going to add some glue. Or double-sided tape in this case. You want one that's going to stick well because you don't want it to fall apart or be flimsy. You're just making these little square tubes. Now normally I would want my glue here if I was using score tape, but because I'm using this, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the last. You always put it on the last piece because that is the piece that gets rolled. This piece gets rolled and put down against the actual back of the shadow box so that you can create the square. So you want to roll it in there till it fits and then lay it flat to make sure that it's stuck. And then you want to make sure that it's nice and square, and pretty much always these come out nice and square. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. You're going to roll it in there to make sure it fits properly and then flatten it down. And now we want to add our glue. So we're going to put a little in each corner on the non-slanted side because it's going to go underneath that slant, just like that. And then you're going to wipe the glue off. In this case, there's a lot of white on the paper, so even if I was using white glue, it would still show up pretty good. Remember not to wipe glue on your shirt or the cat. And now we can do the other side. Just a nice friendly glob. You'll be able to tell based on your glue. Everybody's glue is going to be different. And how much you put there is going to be based on the type of glue you're using. You have a really good glue, it requires less, but you don't want that to be too wet because that is your nice support corners. So you want them to be really nice. And I'm just going to put him up against that for a second. And now we're going to talk about the actual insides. We cut them to be the size of the inside. And because I wrote on these, I'm going to turn them face down. So if you have some scrap cardstock that you have stamped on one side and you were going to throw it away, now's a good opportunity to use it because you're only using one side. So we're going to put this in here. Now, I meant to show you before I sealed that up. Before you rolled these in, you could have cut a piece of cardstock the size of the outside and put it down first and then rolled them in so you didn't have to put this little piece here. You're using a little bit more cardstock, but sometimes I don't know yet what I want to be in the background, and that is why you'll see on all my videos I do this after the fact. By the time I come to you guys, I already know what I'm doing, but before that, I may not know. I may not know what decorations I'm going to have on the outside, so I don't want to limit myself on the color on the inside. And if I want to experiment and try different colors, if I don't glue it, then I could pop it back out and change it if I wanted to. So we're going to put this one inside. Just run my finger around to make sure it sticks down. So now I have two cute little shadow boxes. They're really cute. It's a shame the back's not going to be seen. Two cute little shadow boxes to start adding my pretty little decorations in. So the next thing we can do is we're going to add our embellishments. And this is the little joy and the gingerbread man. So I want to double stack my foam so that it raises it up even more. Because this is a 1/2 inch deep, I don't want this to be flat so that the snow is only on one side. So I can put, and you don't need a lot of these because it's not like you're stuffing it in an envelope and you don't want it to get messed up. It's never going to come out of here because of the snow. So you can just do a few and it will be fine. So I'm going to take the backing off so it exposes the adhesive. And I'm going to add another one on top of each of them. And I'll bring it up to the camera in 1 second. So I wanted it to be thick, so that's why I doubled the foam. So now I can take the paper off of this one. I love these little squares. They're easy to use. They get double stacked. You're going to place it inside the little shadow box, just centering it. It's nice and thick now. You've got plenty of room for your snow. Plenty of room back there. If you wanted to add some greenery, you could if you were not using snow. So the next one we're going to do is the little gingerbread man. We're going to double the little foam squares to the back. You don't need a whole lot. You want the snow to flow around behind him as well as in front of him. So I'm going to put the little foam squares down. Remove the papers from the back. You want to make sure you get all 4 of them done. After you've uncovered all 4, you're going to add another one to each of those 4. You're going to just place one right on top of the sticky side on all 4. Once you've put all 4 down, then you're going to take the papers off. You're going to take each paper off, make sure you get all 4 so that it can stick to the bottom of the shadow box. The hardest part is getting the little papers off. Now you're going to center it and you're just going to eyeball it. You're not going to worry about measuring or anything like that because crafting is not supposed to be perfect. And you're just going to place him in there and stick him down. And now he's all inside the shadow box and he's not laying flat so the snow can go behind him. Now that we have our two pretty little shadow boxes done, we're going to add the plastic to the tops. I'm going to move all these little tabby things out of the way because they go everywhere. And we're going to use our board, the same one we used for the shadow boxes, to score our plastic. This will give us the exact scoring size that we need for our shadow box. It will also make it the 1/2 inch thick, which is what we need for our shadow box as well. You're going to use 2 pieces of acrylic. We've already discussed the sizes. We're going to put a score line on all 4 because we want it to fit inside our cute little shadow box. So you're just going to make a mark on the side, just 1 mark, not 4. You're going to turn it and do that to all 4 sides, putting a nice crease but not making a hole into the plastic. The groove is the perfect size because we already know it's a 1/2 inch. And now you're going to do all 4. It's very hard to see because this is clear, but you can see that there's a tab, and you're going to need to make a cut on each of the 4 corners. And I have to grab my scissors because I wasn't prepared. I have no idea where my good scissors are, so I just grabbed a pair. We're going to make a cut on each of the tabs, and we're going to cut a little sliver slice out to get a triangle, just to make it fold over better. And I can show you here in a second. It's very hard to see, but you're basically just making a slice and then cutting a small triangle. It's almost impossible to show you something on clear, but you will understand the purpose once we keep going. So all 4 sides needs that slice so that you're creating a tab in order to make a tray. So you're just cutting out a little skinny triangle. And you only need to do 1 line on all 4 sides so that you have a tab. Now you're going to want to fold those tabs in. Those are your little tabs you're going to attach to close the tray. Once you have all 4 of them done, then you're going to mash in all 4 sides. You're going to fold it on that score line so that it's not flat against each other, but it's standing straight up as if you were making the lid to a box. Once you have all 4 done, then you need to add some adhesive to those 4 little tabs. That's going to hold it down inside to give it some support. So all I'm going to use is score tape. Score tape holds this really well. You just need a little piece the size of the actual tab. You're going to place it on the tab and remove the paper. And then you can stick it to the actual side. Again, you're making something that looks like a little lid to a box. You're going to make sure you add the score tape to each of the tabs. And then take the paper off, hold it square, and then mash the little score tape to the side. This will give you the perfect little square so that it will fit inside of your shadow box, because you want to make sure that it goes in. Now we're going to do the other side. Taking 2 small pieces of score tape, no bigger than the tab, adding it to the tab, removing the paper, and attaching it to the side. And now we can do the last little tab. This just ensures that our little cover fits inside of the shadow box perfectly. And again, those little papers, they never want to come off when you're trying to show someone. And now we can mash this one down and have our perfect little tray, or it looks like the top to a box, like a little gift box. It's nice and square and the actual size we need. It is going to fit inside our shadow box to make the perfect little cover. And you don't need the snow. You can have it just like this. You don't have to put the snow in it because it does come back out. You can decorate it. And now let's add some snow on the inside. We're also going to put score tape along the outside to seal it up to keep the snow from coming out. Unless you're gifting it to someone who you want the snow to come out, then just leave it untaped. This is just fake snow. I'm just going to put this in here. I like lots of snow. And now we're going to add some score tape around the outside. This will allow that cover to stay inside and hold against the sides of the shadow box so that we don't have that little plastic piece falling out and our snow tumbling out as well. It's Florida, it's hot. We don't need any fake snow. We want to keep it inside the box. So simply add your score tape to all 4 sides. Once you have your score tape on, then you need to pull the paper part off. The paper part is going to come off relatively simple if you just grab the edge and not the end. Now we're going to put that inside. Start with one corner and work your way around. And then the outer sides of the actual clear part will stick to the inside of the actual shadow box. And now we have our snow perfectly secure. I put a little too much snow. It kind of covers up the word joy, but that's okay. Maybe next time we should put only 1 teaspoon and not 2. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other shadow box. We have our clear cover and we want to score line all 4 sides. So you're only using 1 score line on your board and you're doing it to all 4 sides. You're basically making a score of a 1/2 inch all the way around. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut a slit and you're going to make a little triangle, a little long skinny one, so that it folds better and closes better because you have that little extra space. It's just like when you're making a gift box top. Do that to all 4 sides. And when you do it to all 4 sides, you'll have your 4 tabs. Now we're going to fold in the tabs, all 4 of them, making sure we're folding them on the right line, making sure we get it nice and square. And then we need to fold all 4 sides down. Just folding it on the score line and then smashing it down. You don't need to smash it flat. It's not going to lay flat. You want it to stand up, again, like we're making a box top or tray. Now we have all 4 tabs ready to be glued or score taped to the inside. We're going to get our 4 little pieces, or we're going to do 2 at a time. We're going to take the paper off and mash it against the side to make our first corner, and now going to the second corner. We're going to add our score tape and take the paper off and smash it to the side. We're going to keep going for all 4 sides. We want to make sure that we get all 4 corners done. It's kind of hard working with something clear. Sometimes it's easy to forget one corner, but we want to make sure we do all 4. I'm going to do the last 2 sides, putting the score tape on the tab. We're going to do the other side, put the score tape on the tab. Remove the paper, which is the hard part. And we're going to center it up, line it up so that it's a nice square edge. We're going to do the last side, make sure it's nice and square. And now we have this perfect little tray topper that goes on top. I always make sure it fits before I continue because I don't want to get my snow started and get my adhesive going if it's not the right size. Once you've made sure it's the right size, then we can add our snow. I had a little bit of score tape peeking out. We're just going to put some snow in this one, and you're probably better off just putting it in the center and not shaking it all the way around, just so that you don't have it all over the edges. If you keep it in the center, it might be better. I just couldn't resist shaking it. So now we're going to get 4 pieces of score tape so that we can put score tape on all 4 sides of the plastic, just like we did on the first one. It's important to hold it in there if we don't want the person receiving this to have snow everywhere. If that is your goal, by all means, don't glue it and make sure you're around to see what happens. Putting the score tape all the way around. We are going to put the lid on the glitter because that is what creates a really big mess in the craft room, is when we don't secure our glitter or fine items that we could easily knock over. Keeping the lid on things really helps. Now we have adhesive on all 4 sides of our little clear tray. We're going to put it inside, starting at one corner and working our way around. It is super simple to put it in. It doesn't require a lot of effort. Just put it in all the way around and it will stay. And now we have the perfect amount of snow because our little gingerbread man is not covered up with snow. He looks really cute in there. He's got snow and it's nice and secure. Now we have our 2 shakers. Let's talk about the additional items we're going to put on. Get rid of all these little tabs. Now we're going to put on our corners. Now these are photo corners, guys. They're made to go on photos, which means each side, just like this little die, I'm showing you the die cut. This came from Amazon and it came in a set of 2. It came with these 2 corners, and I am looking for the other one. This black die that you see here on this shadow box came with this set. So it's a really pretty die and it came with the 2 corners. So they have both worked out really well with the shadow box. So they're photo corners. They're meant to be folded and then a photo corner tucked in it like a pocket. But I'm going to leave those edges open to go on the outside of the box. So what I need to do now is I need to add some glue. And this again is my Fast Grab tacky glue. The same one we used on the corners. I'm using it again to add the little photo corners. So we're going to add glue to the outside of the little tabs. I'm showing you how to put it on. If you were putting a photo in it, it's an actual pocket, but we are making a corner trim. So we're going to put glue on the outside, that little tabby thing that's folded there, and on the inside of that. The other side is a very glittery cardstock. And then we're going to add some glue to the center bottom just so that it can stick to the shadow box. Once you have the glue, you just simply lay it in the corner and rub all the sides. It's nice and cute. It sticks really well because it is cardstock on the other side of that glitter cardstock. So it does stick very well cardstock to cardstock. Now we're going to do the other one. We're going to add glue to the inside and to the outside. When I say inside and outside, I don't mean the outside is in the glitter part. I mean the outside is in that fold. There's a little fold that it creates. And then a little bit on the bottom center. And that's just simply to put it more secure on the shadow box in the bottom corner. We're just going to place that down and mash the glue down a little, making sure it can hold really well until it dries. Nice and flush, and it's a nice straight corner. It just really fancies up this shadow box, especially with the snow inside being glittery and those corners being much more glittery than you can see in the camera. So now we have our cute little shadow boxes, and we need to add our backing, the way we're going to hang it. So this was some trim that I found in my ribbon bin. The other one has a piece of ribbon that went up, around, and down, where I'm only going to put one center to this ribbon. I think I want to leave it with one of the little circles at the bottom, leave a little circle in the center, and then leave a little circle on top, and not make it any bigger than that. Let's see. I think this is a little too far, but We might make this a little shorter. I don't want it to be too much ribbon on top and take away from the actual box. Let's go with that. So I'm going to take these little tiny scissors because I couldn't find my orange ones. They weren't in reach. They actually cut pretty good to be so tiny. If you want, take a lighter and burn the edge, or you can add some glue. Now I'm going to put these down with score tape. I would normally recommend you using hot glue for this because score tape's not going to last over time, but hot glue would. So I'm going to use score tape and I'm going to come back later and use hot glue. But for this video, I'm just using score tape. And score tape holds ribbon and cardstock down pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised with how well it sticks. Now it's stuck down really good. I'm going to rub it on the back. I want to fold my loop down, so I'm going to add some score tape. I will come back and use hot glue because I think this needs to hold longer than score tape would last. So I'm just making a little loop on the top, holding it down with the score tape. Now I want to add the top shadow box. I want to leave a little space between them like I did on the original one. The original one's held on with score tape as well, and it's held pretty good, but I wouldn't chance it if you were going to store this or give this in a few months from now. I would go ahead and use the hot glue. So I'm using score tape now, but I will come back and put hot glue later. The score tape holds pretty well. We're going to take the backing off the score tape after pressing it to the ribbon. And then we're going to add the shadow box lined up. And there we have the cutest little shadow box hanger. And make sure you subscribe, guys, because we got a lot more coming out. A lot more pretty things. I don't think this even needs a bow. I think it's going to take away from it. I really like the background. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join me on Facebook. And as always, guys, happy crafting.